All right. Hello, everyone. Happy Thursday. Um, so, this video lecture, I hope, finds you all well. I hope that you all are safe and healthy. And I'm sure that many of you, like myself, experienced my first ever earthquake on Tuesday. It was quite jarring, I think, to say the least. So I hope that you all are doing all right after that, and yeah, and just holding up okay with your courses and with your health. So today for philosophy of alcohol, and this is always such a good lecture, such a good discussion in the classroom, but alas, here we are, a little unfortunate, but nevertheless. So what we're going to discuss today is going to build off those discussions from Tuesday. Okay, so thinking about identity, thinking about kind of like the nature of who it is that we are. Okay, and identity is defined as the fact of being who or what a person or thing is. Okay, and so as our baseline definition, right, we build from that. So we think about who it is we are, who it is we think we are, which are often quite different. Okay? So who it is we are, who it is we think we are, who it is we've been, and who it is we hope to be. Okay? And I think all four of those things kind of encapsulate and connect to our overall identity, right? And perhaps some of our identity is fixed, meaning, right, that it's part of kind of essentially ourselves, whatever that may be, whatever that may look like. But then also, maybe part of our identity is fluid. Maybe part of our identity changes over time. And kind of that reconciliation of where that is and what that looks like takes some understanding, takes a little bit of work to know yourself, right? But today, I want to ask the question. Again, these are always such good discussions in class. But I want to ask the question of like, who are we when we consume alcohol, right? And are we closer to the authentic self, or are we further away from the authentic self? Moreover, when we think about kind of who it is that we are, when we consume alcohol, right, does that show more of our true selves, our true identities, or are we able to hide them, right? So there's a lot of interesting questions to ask here about the idea of kind of inebriation, the idea of any sort of intoxication, right? And so for the purposes of our course, right, we're talking about drinking, we're talking about alcohol, but we could start by way of an example. Okay, so right now I'm drinking a cup of coffee. Okay, I will be a different person after this cup of coffee. I mean, not much is going to change with regard to my identity, but perhaps I might be able to speak a little faster. Perhaps I might be able to think a little quicker. Perhaps I might feel a little bit more inspired. I might feel a little bit more creative, right? That the effects of what I am consuming, the effects of what I am ingesting, of what I'm putting into my body, is in a way changing my identity, right? It's changing who it is that I am. Because I'm not going to be the same person as I am right now after having consumed this cup of coffee. Okay? So we apply that then and kind of like that framework to alcohol, right? And so in thinking about that, like what does that look like? What does that mean? Okay? Um, and kind of in that regard, when one has a drink, and right, and I'm not talking about like, I mean, you can go to the far extremes here of thinking, okay, yes, when somebody has a handful of shots and when somebody is really drunk, right? Yes, they're different. Okay? But that's not what I'm totally interested in. I'm kind of interested in that space of being buzzed, maybe being like kind of initially drunk, right? Where you still have a little bit of faculties of your person. You have control over yourself, right? The wine is not controlling you. You are controlling the wine. Um, and so I kind of want to think about that and kind of in that space. So the idea that undoubtedly by the nature of what we've consumed, okay, by the nature of what we've consumed, we are different. Okay, we're different than we otherwise were. And so there's a couple of questions, right? One question is like, can we ever have like a permanent identity as to base all other identities on? Okay, like is there kind of like one essential Bryce or aspect of me that I can measure and say, okay, well, when I drink this coffee, I'm not like that base. Or when I have this beer or when I have this mixed drink, I am not, that base Bryce that I know to be the true self. Okay? So there's kind of that aspect to consider. And again, I really want to encourage a little bit of thought that I really want to encourage a little bit of thought that yes, we're going to be talking about alcohol, but um, I think the same kind of thought experiment can apply to a lot of other substances, legal and illegal. Okay, but I do want to stick kind of in the framework of alcohol. So that's a little bit of the setup, and I'm gonna stop this video now because when I upload them to YouTube, they go faster if they're a bit shorter. So the next video, we're gonna dive into some of these initial questions.